Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and you should know by now. If you do not know, then you probably also missed my last video, which the views are atrocious, which is okay. I know. Nobody want to hear me talk about Israel and Hamas, but here I am going to talk to you about Israel and Hamas. So Israel and Hamas has agreed to a ceasefire to free hostages, and in exchange for prisoners, apparently convicted prisoners in Israel. So just to go through for those that did not know what is happening, or just to catch up. So they have agreed. Israel and Hamas has agreed. Surprisingly, they negotiated and agreed on a ceasefire for 4 days. So it's just a 4-day ceasefire, and they will be exchanging hostages and prisoners. So, but Netanyahu did emphasize again that they are at war and they will continue the war. So the message is that this is just temporary, because this is definitely against what Netanyahu wants. Netanyahu wants this war to be as brutal as possible, and we can definitely see it from the amount of casualties, from the civilian casualties within Gaza, and the kind of nearly scorched earth type of war, the ground operation that we are seeing. Everywhere the Israeli goes, they basically turn it into desert. So we already know this is the case, but which is why this entire ceasefire came as a surprise to me, because I do not expect the Israeli to negotiate, and this is indeed the case. They really did not want to negotiate, but there was a lot of pressure, which I'm going to come to in a while. So just to come back to this agreement. The agreement is that they will pause for 4 days, and they will release 50 of the 240 hostages. So this is important to note. They are only releasing 50, whereas the Hamas still have 240 in total. So this is just not everyone. And so 50 will be in exchange for 150 Palestinian prisoners. So according to the previous article by the New York Suns, so that seems to be convicted. That means they probably gone through court case and everything. So this is so they basically say that they will the 50 hostages will be prioritized on mothers, women, and children, and they will be released in groups of 12 or 13 over the period of 4 days. So this is actually most likely a Hamas requirement. This to ensure that the ceasefire holds. So every day they'll release 10 to 12, 13. So to make sure that the ceasefire will hold, and not just one shot, and then the Israeli will just game whatever this thing is. So so the Israel added probably added this additional condition, is that for every 10 additional hostages that Hamas releases, Israel will extend the ceasefire by 1 day. So by 1 day, so this is actually the confirmed agreement. So reported by LG Mania. So just to emphasize this again, this spokeswoman is called Libby Wise. So she looks like an Indian, but that's not the point. She says that hey, that's a joke, right? You guys who are pro Palestinian, I know what you're thinking. So anyway, she emphasized that now this is just an operational pause. This is not a ceasefire, and she emphasized that they will get the final decision. This statement is before the confirmation from the political level, and they will implement it. But he told Newsmax, so which is a US TV station, a cable TV news. They say that the best way to categorize this deal is a pause. So this is an important note, at which also here on DPA I'm trying to tell you this is not a real ceasefire. This is just a pause. Humanitarian pause, hostage exchange pause, whatever you want to call it. There is humanitarian aspect for this as well. From my understanding, they will be also sending humanitarian aids into the Gaza Strip during this point of time, to make sure that the hospitals got the petrol or to run their generators, and then there's food, there's big whatever humanitarian needs. So this is just probably Israel trying to reduce the amount of PR damage that they are now getting throughout this entire war of brutality. And and this ruthlessness, which I warned you about. I warned you right on the very first day of this conflict. If you have watched it, you should know that I really want that Israel will be freaking ruthless, and anyone that argues with me, thereafter from the videos that come after the first one, they are just wasting my time, because I already want that Israel will be ruthless, and we see it, criticizing me for it, it makes no sense to me, because I'm not Israeli and I'm not pro-Israel, and I condemn whatever the shit Israel is doing in this operation. In fact, the way how they deal with the entire October 7 is totally nonsensical. No, I will talk in a different time what I think should be the way to do this thing. But anyway, it's too late. No, thousands and thousands of people have died. So why this deal came about? I have not expected this deal to even be possible, and somehow it happened. This comes back down to internal politics, which I did mention as well on the very first video, that there is severe internal political problems for Netanyahu. Netanyahu, you have to remember, just months ago, Israel was on the edge. They almost went into a civil war. You probably have forgotten it, because you cannot think in all this propaganda and information war and all this emotional response that you cannot control yourself. So control yourself. So it's important to control yourself, because don't get manipulated. I find it very irritating to see people getting emotional and manipulated by everything. There is a lot of hatred and dislike of Netanyahu within the Israeli people. His approval level is freaking low. So you have to understand that people want him out. And Netanyahu is a hardliner. He just wants war. He's a very warmongering type. But the hostage families find that whatever operation that Israel is doing is not helping the situation. They are not getting their family back. So they're not getting their children back, their sisters back, their cousins back, their partners, and they done a lot of things that is not reported, because everyone is just focusing on the atrocities of the Israeli Defense Forces on Gaza. No one is, very few people or neutral media cares to talk about this, which is that the hostage family have been marching from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. They placed posters, they did all sort of events to try to raise awareness that their families are still hostages, and they do media interviews. They go through their experience getting the trauma again and again, just to bring awareness, to try to get Israel to negotiate with Hamas and at least get the hostage out. So, but you see, the Israeli leadership does a different thing that is totally away from what maybe the majority of the Israeli wanted. So, and they just go on to just do revenge bombing and whatnot. So until the 47th day of the war, the hostage family finally seems to have persuaded the parliament, the government, or the Knesset, and finally decided to negotiate with Hamas, which they have decided. They already said, they announced that they will destroy. So it is a contradiction. This is a very important thing. It is a contradiction, because Israel has vowed to destroy Hamas, but yet they are now negotiating with them. So this is, you can see the internal politics that is now unraveling within Israel. So it was, the situation within Israel is so bad that there was actually a shouting match on Monday, so which is around 2 days ago, between the hostage families and the Netanyahu's far-right allies in the Knesset, and because the far right, the Netanyahu side of the political realm, or the factions, is hardline. They don't negotiate with terrorists. So they don't want to talk to Hamas. They just want to wipe them out. They don't care about the hostages. Like I mentioned before, I don't know which video I mentioned before. The Israeli are unlikely to care about the hostages, which is where you can see from this exchange in the Knesset. And I mentioned this before, but many of you guys are not caring, because you guys are just busy, raging. Stop raging. No, I'm your friend. I'm trying to stop you from feeling the pain. So anyway, and this shouting match basically drew of the pundits within the Hebrew media community, and then the pressure started to pile on the Netanyahu's government, and with the no war cabinet lining up to support this hostage deal, Netanyahu have no choice. No, so here they say further political cover to sign off, but the reality is probably he have no choice, because ultimately all these leaders are elected. They have to care about their election cycle. They need to show that they are listening to the people, and they eventually give into the pressure, and they decided to negotiate with Hamas. So to at least pause for a while, get this hostage exchange deal, going. The Hamas side, put it out in a statement saying that they will have their hands on the trigger. They will continue to be on the lookout. They are already putting a statement of resilience and strength, to put it in the position of strength. And it's important to note that the the this is a huge victory for Hamas, because this is exactly what they wanted from this hostage taking. The whole point of them raiding this all the kebabs, no, not kebabs, kibbutz, kebabs, all the kibbutz. The idea of kidnapping all these people is to do this exchange for the prisoners that is currently inside Israeli prisons. So this is going to be a massive PR victory again for Hamas. Basically, Hamas has been winning every single PR war so far, from other than the first day, which they lost, although it's considered a victory in the Arab Muslim world, but mostly since then, because of the Israeli heavy-handedness, it had been Hamas victory all the way. So until today, it's still Hamas victory. Diplomatically, it's still Hamas victory, because Israel has basically lost diplomatic connections with basically the entire Muslim world at this moment, and this is going to be milked tremendously by Hamas for sure. So so we shall continue to monitor and see how this goes. A lot of countries, people, UN all made certain statements about this hostage exchange, and which is pretty much pointless, because it remains to be seen whether it will be honored. That's the main problem, because we have to remember Netanyahu is pro-war, and he probably don't really care about the hostages, because how do you care about the hostages, 200 over hostages, when you're already killing thousands so far, not thousands. In fact, I think the number is around 12,000 now, or maybe higher, allegedly, because nobody will be able to count it, because some people, if they are bombed, they just disappear, so the numbers is super high, and if you just divide it down, Israel is probably killing maybe 200 to 500 a day. So when we are talking about 200 hostages, the entire equation that is just loop-sided. It just makes no sense to me, but it is a political pressure currently within Israel that they have to do this thing. Meanwhile, outside of this thing, some other headlines or major issues is the IDF claims that they have destroyed 400 tunnels. So I know that there are a lot of people don't like, or they discredit whatever claims by the Israelis about tunnels, destroying tunnels, discovering tunnels. It's important to note the Hamas themselves showed the exact tunnel design. This is the exact tunnel design. So the tunnel exists. The Hamas Al-Qassam Brigade also shows footages of their soldiers coming out from tunnels, attacking the Israeli forces in the rear position. So for the Israeli to destroy tunnels is natural, is normal, because the tunnels exist. They are used by Hamas fighters to ambush and attack the rear position of the Israeli forces. So Israeli forces discovering all these tunnels, bomb it, destroy it, is normal. You get me, right? There's nothing special about it. Don't. If you cannot agree with this, then you really need to calm down, and think: are you being overly biased to the point where you are losing your logic. This is very important because I have been speaking to so many people on Twitter, on Telegram, and I find and I also saw comments on YouTube, and it's just discouraging. It's very discouraging because no, because you're not listening. You have to calm down. If you are overly biased, then you are doing what the pro-Ukrainian people, the NAFO people did during the Ukraine war, because they are not they're not opening up themselves to possibility that whatever they are listening from the Ukrainian government might be wrong, and whatever information that's coming out of Gaza is from Hamas. That is the important thing to note, and it is in Hamas benefit to inflate numbers, to make things look worse than it is, but definitely the reality is actually quite bad. So they don't even have to make up too much. So just important thing to note, you can, if you start to find yourself only take one side, entirely 100% and totally distrust and not listening to the other side unless they're saying something that acknowledge what you are thinking, by selective thinking, selective using of what they say, then yeah, maybe you are brainwashed. So unfortunately, that's the word to use. So you have to save yourself, really, because you are being manipulated. So it's a habit, just get rid of it, just change the habit. Don't get so easily manipulated. So anyway, so whatever it is, they destroyed a lot of tunnels. I just want to raise this part, which is very funny. They say that this tunnels is located within hospitals, schools, and homes. Then my question is, what else is there other than hospitals, schools, and homes? That's basically everything. So that's everything in Gaza City. So this is a basically pointless statement. Basically, they are just everywhere. Okay, so and going to Jordan. So in Jordan, Jordan is preparing themselves. They are worried that the Israeli, you see, even the Jordanians are not trusting Netanyahu's government. They know Netanyahu cannot be trusted, and they started to step up their military presence along the border with West Bank. They fear that the Israeli forces will force Palestinians into Jordan, and they view this as a declaration of war by Israel and a material breach of the peace treaty between Jordan and Israel. So according to the peace treaty in 1994, it states that involuntary movement of person in such a way as to adversely prejudice the security of either party should not be permitted. And which means, in simple terms, if anyone is being pushed across the border against the person's will, this is a breaking of the treaty. So, and if they break the treaty, then Jordan basically set this as a red line and say that this will be a declaration of war. So this, and Egypt, basically, I think they have something similar. So this basically cut off the possibility of Netanyahu trying to play this trick. And this trick of pushing everyone out of Israel, I also mentioned in the very, very freaking first video. So I already mentioned before. So if you didn't watch it, then no. But it is a video that a lot of people watch. So I think people just forget. Maybe I should do another video just to do review. Review of what I said and see how much I was correct. Anyway, outside of the Israel region, there is a boycott campaign going on across the Arab world, and in fact most of the Muslim world as well. This also applies to Malaysia, Indonesia as well. And so this boycott campaigns, according to the article, say that is usually not very successful in the past, when there is Israeli and Palestinian problems. And this time now, because this war has been so brutal, so many people have died, and the boycott campaign is starting to pick up, and seems to be pretty successful. So in fact, even Egypt and Jordan civilians, a lot of them are joining the boycott of Western products because they feel that the Western brands, like you see this Starbucks, this is a note. The note basically wrote that there is a boycott of Western products, and it's your choice to join the boycott or not. So this is a deliberate attempt to get people not to buy. and it's so far pretty successful in Jordan and Egypt. In Turkey, they basically already removed but the parliament removed Coca-Cola and Nestle products from its restaurants, parliament's restaurants. So basically saying that yeah, because Turkey did not cut ties with Israel, so they just try to do something, to cover it up, to make sure that people is happy because they are doing something. So there are also other boycotts that seem which is some is successful, some is not so successful in Saudi Arabia, UAE, Tunisia, and then so what I didn't paste into here is Malaysia, Indonesia also have boycotts. So many of them are like fast food restaurants. They just don't go and eat over there, and sales have dropped by a lot. I think Indonesia, Malaysia, I think KFC or something, they dropped by 70% in sales or something like that. But that is just anecdotal. So otherwise, finally, Israel also have loan repayment deferments. So this is one of the headlines. So by reading this, we might actually see we might read it wrong, because the first time when I read this, I thought it was the Israeli government. So apparently this is actually a deferment program for the Israeli people that is affected by the war. And so far the deferment payment has now reached a total of 3 billion shekels of loans due to this war. And so 117,000 loans were deferred, mostly credit cards and mortgage, and totaling 2.7 billion last month. So yeah, so it has raised to 3 billion. It has increased, and most of these people who actually have to go into this deferment are people who have their life impacted by the war, like they live or own a business within 30 kilometers of the Gaza border, and people who are evacuated from their homes, probably includes the northern border with Lebanon, and also people who are called for reservists, which is actually quite a lot. I think it's around 300,000, I believe. And also the immediate relative of those that were killed during the war, kidnapped or missing, which is also in the thousands. So far this thing is pretty important for the Israelis' internal stability, to make sure that people's life is not destroyed, because when your life is destroyed, then they will start to uprise against the government. This is the only thing that doesn't happen in Palestine, because Palestinians never uprise against their own leadership somehow. Whatever, maybe they do, maybe they don't. The protests don't do anything, because West Bank is corrupted, Gaza is Hamas, which is a terrorist group, Israel, you have a right wing, the whole area is just shit. So anyway, this is the the updates regarding the situation within Israel-Gaza war, and or Israel-Hamas war, and hopefully things will get better, people will stop dying. But like I said, I'm a realist. Maybe I never said that before, but I'm a realist. That's the kind of philosophy that I prescribe to. So I don't expect this deal to be very successful. I think maybe either party, Hamas or Israel, might do something shitty, and then war starts again. So that could be something that might happen. And also this is also going against the rhetoric about destroying Hamas. So if they are supposed to destroy them, but you're negotiating with them and you let them achieve their objective, that is just one hell of a confusing thing. So, and then if you release the people, the prisoners, where are they supposed to go? Is it West Bank, Gaza? No, I have no idea. So so far there's no information about who are the prisoners that will be released on the Palestinian side. So there's a lot of waiting to do. So thank you for watching. Do press the like button, subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments, and if you want me to continue to cover this, because it is a very difficult topic to cover, because people either don't watch, or people just rage within the comments, or I get demonetized by YouTube. So it's just a shit show that there's no good benefit for me to do all these things. So I'm only doing this if you want me to do. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next update.